episode 69 of Speak On It. I did my homework this week. This is the Mark Schlereth episode or the Jared Allen episode. I'll let you pick, D.
Okay, first off, to all you sickos out here who heard that number and had all your jokes, grow the hell up. I also laughed as well. Okay, I'm gonna go with Jared Allen. This is Jared Allen episode. What's good, man? How you been, dog?
I'm living the dream. How are you? You know what? I'm going to stop saying that. I went to the dentist yesterday and he was like, "How you doing, man?" And I was like, "I'm living the dream." And he was like, "So what is your dream?" And I was like, "That's a hell of a question. I've never had." And then he was
philosophical stuff.
And then he was like, because there are all kinds of dreams. Martin Luther King had a dream. Vladimir Putin has a dream. And I was like, dog, I'm just here to get my teeth clean.
Nah, I would have been looking at him. Hey, yo, first off, okay, was he?
Yeah, it was.
No. Was he?
Yes, he was.
Okay. I don't want to make this racy, but why he start off with MLK Dream first? Why he start? Look at where he go, dog. Why he start off with MLK Dream and then go to Putin's dream?
Like MLK has the most
dreams. What?
Well, I interjected with.
Didn't have a dream.
I interjected with Freddy Krueger has dreams too, and then that was kind of it. But yeah, it was his timing. It was funny, but yes, I was kind of like I shouldn't be laughing at this.
See, so what I usually say is I just be like, "Hey, man, I'm living life, just trying to make it another day, another dollar." And every time I say another day, another dollar, someone always laughs. I don't think they really get what I'm saying when I'm saying that.
No,
like they think it's like the old SpongeBob, another day, another nickel sort of line. It's like,
whoa, no. SpongeBob, that sound real close, SpongeBob. Whoo! I hope they enunciated when they said that on SpongeBob, because that sound whoo.
Oh, yo! First off, they did. Trust me. They wouldn't have let SpongeBob, because that was an old episode. That was an old early episode. They wouldn't let SpongeBob get that off had he said it. But nah, I'd just be like, dog. I say another day, another dollar because it costs something to wake up and live life. It's you earning something, and if you're not earning something, you losing something. And I'm trying to earn $1 every day, baby.
I heard that. Every day. I heard that.
Man, while I'm here talking, let me give a rundown of what we're going to be chatting about today on the 69th episode here on Speak On It. So we're going to start out with some NBA news. I know there's some talk about the Jazz's asking price for Donovan Mitchell. Well, we can also chat a little bit about this update on Kevin Durant and the Nets. Seems like we got some news on that this morning. We can get into week 2 of the NFL preseason and what we're thinking now. We're hearing some QBs got named starters. Where we're some positions are being evaluated, depth is being evaluated. So want to see if anything stands out. We're also going to, of course, get into Deshaun Watson and his suspension now that it was officially announced. Get thoughts on his punishment as this saga is now officially behind us. We're officially going to this week continue our preview of the NFL divisions by looking into the AFC North. So that is the Browns, coincidentally enough, the Bengals, the Super Bowl representatives for the AFC last season, the Steelers, and of course the best preseason team ever, the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to chat a little bit at the outro about Kamaru Usman. That was a big loss over the weekend. We forgot to chat last week about LeBron and his extension, so we'll get into that. Chat a little bit, of course, a weekly fantasy football league chat. Speaking of which, the Wnba Playoffs, we'll get into that. And then back in, we'll get into a little Game of Thrones, and then supposedly there was a Brady to the Raiders rumor that we'll get into. But let's start by, Danny, let the people know who the pod is brought to us by.
The pod is brought to us by goingfor2.com. Head over to goingfor2.com for all your fantasy needs. Football season is here. Drafts are going on. Head over to goingfor2.com again for all your fantasy needs. A lot of great content, a lot of free content for any type of league that you may own. Like you said, we're going to talk about our leagues a little bit later. I have been doing mock drafts like crazy, especially because our draft, it's not a snake draft, right? It's linear.
No. Incorrect. This first draft of the league, since no one has a roster, this will be a snake draft.
Okay.
This would
Then
be a
after
snake
it'd
draft.
be
This first
linear.
one. Afterwards would be linear. So let me actually make sure I said that in our league chat.
Because I have done both linear and snake, and I've had a lot of success with both. But the linear makes me like you have to really, really think about your pick, especially if you're at the end because you don't get two back to back, so you just can't kind of like bank it. Like
Yeah,
you really have to be strategic in your picks. But a snake draft is
I
a lot
got
of
you. So
fun.
here, just I wanted to make sure I set this in the note. So the initial first draft will be a snake draft. The remaining
Okay.
drafts will be linear after the order has been locked in at the draft lottery. Because in this league, and by the way, people, we are talking about the dynasty league that
Yep.
Daniel and I are in because we are in 2 leagues. So this is it specifically referring to the dynasty league. So in this dynasty league, the 4 teams that don't make the playoffs have the consolidation
Yep.
tournament. Winner of that determines order 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the teams that did make the playoffs randomize their draft order for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then there we have our draft order.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep. I'm really excited. Again, I have the third pick. I've been doing a lot of mock drafts, and I've had like the one thing I like about the sleeper app, it's not the same thing. Like I've had Jonathan Taylor fall to me. I've had my pick between Chase and Jefferson, so it's given me a lot of different looks. So I'm really
And I will
excited about our
say, and
draft.
this is not an ad for Sleeper, but Sleeper, if you do hear this, I would love to be a sponsor for you guys because just make sure you pay me the bread. But I will say the beauty. It's good, Kyle. We see you in the chat. The beauty of the Sleeper app that I really really like is, to your point, the mock drafts, the CPU mock drafts. It's different every single time, and I have a very interesting draft position, which I think. Are you 3 and I'm 4?
Yeah, I think I'm 3 and you're 4.
And like every time, pretty much every time, it's been either a good wide receiver or a good running back. So really, really curious to see how that draft board plays out. And speaking of the sleeper app, how about last time we chatted? I was telling you, I'm in 4 leagues, 3 money leagues, and 1 like free league. No, I'm in 4 money leagues and 1 like free, just a stress-free league. And I was like, that's it. 5 is my max. How about today? My coworkers, after my coworkers saw me and they were like, "Yo, remember that fantasy football league we were discussing that we wanted to do? Do you want to be the commissioner of that? Because it seems like you're a pretty good commissioner." And I was like, "Oh, y'all are serious? Y'all really want to do this?" So I try to hit him with a jab back. You know, sometimes when you know you might have to do something, you try to ask him a question to give yourself some more time. I was like, all right, well, I mean, I don't know if we have enough members. Like, I don't know if we have enough people for the league. So he says, "Oh, come here, man." So I step into his office. So we just start numbering the people that he knows would be interested. Dog, we was at 8 by the time he finished, including
Damn.
me. And I was like, I said, "Oh no, this league's happening." I was like, this league's happening. So my next question to throw him off was, all right, but what's the buy-in, dog? Now I'm thinking, I got you. Now I hit him because you know you gotta hit him with the 50 and up. If we ain't starting at $50 a buy-in, we ain't serious enough. I'm not doing it. He was like, "Oh, brother, we don't have to do any buy-in. Here's what we can do. We can set the winner. The winner gets to pick a pair of shoes that he wants, and the league chips in and buys it for him."
What?
Fam, I said, "Oh no, he got me. He got me."
Is there a limit to the amount? Like is like a
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you off air because I don't want too much info.
Yeah, I got you. That's crazy.
And it's a good little limit to where per person when I did the math, per person, if you include the shipping, it's basically like a normal buy-in. So it's not bad at all.
Dog, don't tip me.
No.
That's
so
a
then
great idea.
When he told me that, I was like, "Dog, y'all, we in too deep now." I was like, "All right, I guess I have to be the commissioner." But I was like, "We have to do this on the sleeper app because I want to do a redraft league in the sleeper app." So this will be my redraft league.
Look at you. We really need to get you a commissioner hat. Like I'm on it. Like I gotta find you a commissioner hat.
Yeah, give me a commissioner hat. Yo, okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna say, people. Then we're gonna get into the NBA. So you kind of Kyle said, "Damn, you kind of shoehorned into that prize, but still, that sounds great for people who love shoes." So, Kyle, I can say that this group of people, shoes is very much what we love. So when this was said, I was like, "Oh, damn, you got me." can't deny this one. And it was like, okay, and with that, we really don't have. There's no buy-in. Just at the end of the year, the guy picks. We just send the guy however much, and it's like, all right, you won, congratulations. So
That's crazy.
I was getting ready to say one more thing. What did you just? Oh, so last thing I'm gonna say at the beginning of the NBA. So I spent like an hour and a half at work today, like thinking through league options because I wanted, you know how I like the commission. I like to give the league options so everyone feels like their voice was heard. So I was like, all right, well, thinking through, what type of rosters, how we want to score, that type of stuff. Sent all these questions to the league. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look at all the polls in the morning. But I started this message with, all right, guys, I'm gonna put on my commissioner hat. So I do need a commissioner hat. Do need it. But let's get into the NBA, Danny. So let's start out. It is being reported right now that the Jazz's current asking price for Donovan Mitchell from the New York Knicks is multiple players, including very, very good players. These aren't scrubs. I mean, they're all very good NBA players, but the best players that they have available on their roster, some of the best players they have on their roster, plus 5 draft picks. 5 draft picks. So I got to ask you this. When I saw the report, I said, okay, is this a bluff by Danny Ainge? Or do you really think this is the asking price that the Jazz are saying we're not budging?
So yes and no. I think Danny got so lucky with Rudy Gobert. He's like, let's see if I can do that again. And the thing that's working in his favor is that the Knicks are like really the only team that have shown there are teams who are interested in Donovan Mitchell, but it sounds like the Knicks are kind of like the only ones who are like, yeah, we want Donovan Mitchell. It's like, well, you're the only ones who want him. And here's the asking price. Like, this is what you're going to pay one way or the other. So I think if the Knicks said yeah to that, Danny Ainge would look like another genius and he could sell hope to Utah for another 5 years like he did in Boston. But if he doesn't, again, like the Knicks are the only team that really want Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. So it's kind of up to Danny. So I don't think it's a bluff to a degree, but I think that's going to be pretty close to what Danny's going to get if the Knicks are the only people who are out here really trying to get Donovan Mitchell away from Utah.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yep.
Back in your heyday, when you was out here moving, before you was married, obviously, when you was out here in the streets and you was moving and grooving. Let's just say you had a few women on your roster, and let's just say maybe not your starter, but like your shooting guard, your second leading scorer.
Yeah,
maybe she's giving you some resistance, right?
Right.
Like y'all was connected, and now she starts giving you a little bit of resistance, and you kind of tell her, yo, like, if you don't want to do this anymore. No, she tells you, yo, if you don't want to do this anymore, like, we don't have to do this. And you're kind of like, actually, now that you think about it, what do you do in that situation? What do you do in that situation?
I mean, see, this is conversations turning left real quick. It depends on your depth, right? So who you got after your shooting guard? Like, do you got someone who can step in that role? And
you're not really worried about what's after your second leading scorer because you're the team leading scorer. Mm-hmm. You just know this is your franchise player. So really, everyone after your franchise player, expendable.
Okay, well then, yeah. If I got the franchise, if I got the cornerstone, if I have Shaquille O'Neal or Tim Duncan standing over there, and Manu Ginobili mouthing off to me, Manu can go. I got Tim Duncan.
That's what I think is happened in the city of Salt Lake City for the Utah Jazz. I think Rudy Gobert was Mr. Mouthy, thinking, hey man, every time I come around, it's always getting blamed on me. I'm the problem. I can't defend smaller guards. When they bring me out on 3-point line, I struggle. I'm food. I feel like he told that to Danny Ainge. He was like, all right, listen, dog. Hey, dog, I got a 25, 26-year-old phenom in the making in Donovan Mitchell. You can't even guard the perimeter. I can ship you, dog. Relax. And he was probably like, yo, after this past year, I think Danny Ainge was like, hey, yo, dog, you remember that shit he was talking that day? Who did he think he was? You know what? I got something for him. I bet you right now I'll trade him for 5 picks. That's what I bet you that's how Danny Ainge traded Rudy Gobert.
That's how Danny Ainge
He was like, hey, dog, I bet you I can trade the Frenchman for 5 picks. And they said, Do it. He said, watch my beer. And I think he's trying to pull what I think what's happening with Donovan Mitchell specifically is the other end of that. It's the, hey, man, you think I can really get that shit off? Like, Donovan mad? You really think I can get this shit off? And someone's probably telling them, hey, man, you got it once. Why can't you do it again? And I think he knocked on some doors of some people saying, hey, for the same asking price Minnesota took, buddy, you can get Donovan Mitchell. And I think a lot of people hung up on Danny Ainge, except the New York Knicks. And I think the New York Knicks are saying, dog, you've asked all the other pretty girls around here. We're the only ones that's calling you back. You better bring your asking price down. And Danny Ainge is looking at him and saying, yeah, but you're you're the pretty girl that's asking, but I got the bag that you want. Cough up some more money.
And Donovan still has years on his contract. It's not like it's expiring and he's a free agent next year. He got like 3-4 years left.
He's got years on the contract remaining. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, what I personally think, I don't think Donovan Mitchell is moving at all. I think, we have to start. We have to really mention Rudy Gobert among the greatest defenders of all time. Let me finish before you jump in.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Rudy Gobert is maybe a top 5 defender of all time. This man has won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. He's been an All-NBA defensive player. But those aren't some of his best defensive stats. Mind you, this man blocked or stopped a whole NBA season. Season. That's crazy defensive work right there. But that's not all. We got to the off season, and this man stopped the off season. This man is a legendary defender. He is a true shutdown NBA player, and he needs to be recognized as such. That Rudy Gobert trade in the offseason completely stopped the offseason. Woj, Shams, Ari, they have been begging teams, please trade somebody. Trade your ball boy. I need something, dog. And everyone's telling them, hey, man, ask Rudy. Rudy and the T-Wolves really threw some stuff off, man. Really. So, Rudy Gobert, you are a legendary defender. You are a true shutdown NBA player. Listen, I've seen what you've done on the court. I've seen what you've done off the court in the media. I've seen what you've done. Listen, man, I was unfamiliar. What did Shaq say? I was unfamiliar with your game. I apologize. TV. I was unfamiliar to your game. YouTube TV. I know you saw my tweet. I ain't getting no retweet or nothing, dog.
Yo, speaking of which, why didn't you tell me? I have it. We could have got $30 off. Like if I'd have referred you, we could have got some money off. I've been on YouTube TV for like 2 years.
Oh man, I didn't know that. No, YouTube TV is that shit.
Yo, YouTube TV is it.
I was bugging. I was tripping before. I was like, I ain't getting YouTube TV. Then that was what, my baby, she put me on. I was like, whoa, y'all got all the channels.
All the channels.
And you can DVR this?
Unlimited DVR.
Oh no, y'all might be on to something.
And then for $10 a month, you can add the sports package, which includes
I did.
Red Zone.
As soon as I saw Red Zone, I said, yo, I could never watch any of these other channels. I'm gonna get Red Zone. Fam, okay, that's another thing. Can we admit to everyone who's never watched Red Zone before, please cover your ears, brokies. To the rest of us, listen, if you have not watched an NFL Sunday on a Red Zone channel, I don't really think I'm gonna be honest with you, you're gonna watch football completely differently.
Yeah.
I can't watch unless the Packers game. The Packers game, I will literally have the Packers game up and NFL Red Zone up on the TV. Yep. And I would sit there for 7 hours uninterrupted. Football. And you're getting the important plays too that you need to see.
For your fantasy. And you can also on YouTube TV link your fantasy team and get stats in real time.
Oh man. Yeah, yo, when we get offline, please show me how to do that. I'm gonna need that.
I don't know how to do it, but I know you can. I know YouTube TV, like I believe it allows you to. And I will say, NFL, bring the price of Sunday ticket down or give me a one team option because I ain't paying $300.
My brother, let me tell you something right now. in a few years, I'm gonna be honest with you, you won't have to worry about the price being down for NFL red zone, so on and so forth. Because I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do. They're gonna snatch all their shit, and it will be exclusively on this NFL Plus app. Like you're just gonna be paying a monthly subscription.
I hope not. Oh, well, you're right because the Sunday
No,
Chicken
no,
it's up for review,
no.
right? Like,
Honestly, I hope so because what I've noticed is when companies grab all their shit and keep it for the monthly subscription, it's $12, $15, $16. Hey, yo, dog, take it. A
that's
month,
true.
like take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like people wondered why Disney is the current king of streaming, dog. They came with that bundle. Shit.
Oh yeah, the Hulu, man, that's money. $10 a month.
Dog, I'm talking when I heard about the bundle day one, I said, "Hey, yo, dog, this will be a set it and forget it bill, maybe for the rest of my life. I don't care. Y'all keep this up. Take it. Take it. Take it." Speaking of the NFL, we just finished after last night, week 2 of the NFL preseason, right? And it was clear the theme of this weekend was evaluating positional and depth. Well, positional depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Across offense, defense, and special teams. So I got to ask you, you've seen some games. Did anything stand out to you? How you feeling? Talk to me. Where are you at? I know it's the preseason. Don't buy too much into it, but there's only 3 preseason games this year, people. So, I mean, the way that these teams and these coaches are evaluating these players are very differently in these preseason games.
I'm going to keep this Eagle specific. Cam Jurgens is that dude. I know when they picked him in the second round, I was kind of like, it's a wasted pick. He was mauling Cleveland defenders on Sunday. So whenever Jason Kelce retires, Eagles are in good hands. We're Gucci. The second thing, this isn't about depth. This is from last night because in a lot of these.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Before
you actually get into it, I wanted to give a shout out to what Gator J just said. I think this is pretty big for fantasy wise. Damon Pierce, I think he was named RB1 in Houston. I know in the mock draft last week, a few people were chatting about him. But shout out him. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And the last thing is, this has happened to me in a lot of my mock drafts. It'll be round 2. So I'll snatch Jefferson, Chase, or Taylor in round 1, and then round 2, I'm picking between Joe Mixon and Kyle Pitts, and I'm always struggling. But after last night, it's gonna be Kyle Pitts. I'm worrying about running back later if an elite one doesn't fall to me. But dog, the fact that a man his size is able to release and just run by a corner last night.
He nice. He nice. You definitely see now why Atlanta took him so high. He gonna be nice. I feel like he's in the trajectory of one of those tight ends who are just gonna give you 70 to 80 catches for about 1,100 yards a year. Maybe 6, 7 touchdowns a year.
It's Tony Gonzalez, right? He's Tony Gonzalez. Give me Kyle Pitts. I'm taking Pitts.
I like that. How are you feeling about some of these young rookie wide receivers, and how they're kind of looking and shaping up in some of these reps? I know some of them, aren't really playing, but some of them have been getting some reps and haven't been looking too bad.
Yeah, so the thing about these rookie wide receivers, this is not their fault, right? Everyone's going to compare them to Jamar Chase and what he did last year, and that's not going to be fair. So I think if we bring our expectations to something more realistic, we'll be more satisfied. My fear is that a lot of these people are, well, Jamar Chase came out of LSU and caught 1,407 touchdowns and led the AFC in receiving. Jamar Chase was one of one. But I'm really excited about some of these receivers that are these rookie receivers like Treylon Burks. I'm really excited about Pickens up in Pittsburgh. We'll talk about him a little bit later. This is just another, the NFL starting to become a really strong receiver league.
Mm-hmm. I think seeing some of the stuff that Olave's been doing, Romeo Dubs, man. I mean, listening to I was watching, heard something on that Aaron Rodgers said yesterday. Just about Christian Watson and Romeo Dubs, and just both of them, while they're young players, they definitely have some potential. Specifically Romeo, he thinks that basically the team thinks that he's going to be playing and getting some good ticks. So really impressive there. I think Garrett Wilson yesterday, he made a nice catch. So I was like, okay. But these Ohio State receivers, they're doing what they do. Want to give a shout out. He's not really, I don't know if he's a rookie, but my man from Dallas, who I think just won the returner battle.
Yeah, he was in the USFL.
Yeah, I know his last name was Turpin. He was an MVP. He's a baller. He was at Baylor. Yeah, and another thing, I mean, I watched a little bit of the Eagles and the Browns game, and I was watching. I was like, man, I mean, this Eagles team, they might have one of the stronger offensive lines in the league. I mean, you guys have, I mean, pause, but you guys move the line. So it's makes me wonder. It's like, yo, with a good offense like that, you got a couple good receivers. Dallas Goedert. It's gonna be interesting. Like,
You want to take back that Giants pick? You want to take
nah,
back that Giants take? No, you still okay?
I'm not taking that back. But what I'm gonna say is that it just seems like Jalen Hurts is in a good position, and so it makes me believe in him more as QB1 and his ability to lead y'all's football team. But it also makes me wonder, what the hell were you thinking, saying, "Oh, but if we trade Jalen Hurts for Russell Wilson, we would be nah."
Dog, take that same team and insert Russell Wilson.
But it's not the same team, because I think you would be moving some pieces that would be a little bit more valuable.
I mean, we had the draft capital to send what Denver wanted this year, so maybe we wouldn't have Jordan Davis. Yeah, then you probably wouldn't get AJ Brown, and you trade a future first for AJ Brown.
And you don't know if they take, like, in terms of draft capital, what if they decided they wanted to take like a good offensive lineman instead? Like that's a big, when teams lose like an offense. Like, look at the Bucks, yo. All it takes is one retirement, one injury, and now you're looking at a whole offensive line a little bit differently. Then you're having to draft positionally because you need it, and then you're hoping that this guy stays healthy. Sometimes in the preseason, like what happened with some of the Bucks O linemen, I mean, now you're looking at your offensive line depth shaky, all because you made a trade for a quarterback. And I don't know. That brought me back to when you were trying to ship my man out of here, and I was like, yo, like, the brother can play.
I mean, he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying Russell Wilson better.
We gonna see. Look, why Russ ain't playing the preseason? Patrick Mahomes can play in the preseason, but Russell Wilson can't. Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos, let's ride. Yeah. Gator J said Hurts in fantasy football is going to be a top 6 QB.
Absolutely.
Right. He also had a question on any news on Olave.
What's wrong with Olave? I meant to, I don't know what's wrong with Olave.
I'm not. Is he hurt?
I hope not.
I hope not too, because that's definitely going to be a little bit impactful on my fantasy big board. I just realized actually, never mind. Never mind. Anyway, you already talked AFC North. My bad.
Yeah. Let's
no. Actually, no. No, yes. Kind of in the realm of AFC North.
Yeah.
We're talking about a specific team in Cleveland, right?
Yep.
So it was announced that Deshaun Watson will be suspended 11 games, fined $5 million after the NFL and NFLPA came to this agreement on the 11 games and the fine. I know the NFL's chipping in $1 million, maybe the Browns are chipping in a couple million. So it's all in all, they're sending like 7, 8, 9 million to, I forgot the specific organization, or if they have chosen one yet, but I know it was towards victims of maybe like sexual harassment, sexual assault. But with all this ends the process for Deshaun Watson and this whole saga. He'll be eligible to play in December, with his first game back being against, of course, the Houston Texans.
In Houston.
So I got a question for you. What do you think on the punishment now that this saga is completely over and we know what the Browns are going to look like? 11 games without him. What do you think now?
So 11 games, not that it feels right, but I think that's what everyone kind of suspected. Double-digit games. We know the NFL wanted at least that. The $5 million fine, Deshaun should be elated that it's not 10 to 15. $5 million for a guy that signed a $239 million fully guaranteed contract, who's made more than that back in Houston. Like, okay, that's it. If you're Deshaun, you live with this and you say, okay, that's cool. I'll take this. This is probably the best case scenario for him, because again, like the NFL's talking about an indefinite suspension, and then he would have to reinstate at the end of the season, kind of like Josh Gordon. Like, you're suspended for the year, talk to me after the Super Bowl, and we can determine if you're ready to come back to the league. So if you're Deshaun Watson, this is the best case scenario. I don't think this will ever be behind him fully. Like 26 women accusing you of the same thing. I don't know if that ever leaves you.
And he still maintains his innocence.
And he still
I want to make sure we say that he still maintains his innocence. So I don't want to cut you off, but going off of that, you heard after when the punishment came down, he had that press conference by himself. He kind of basically, in summarization of his words, basically saying, "Yo, I accept it. I'm not going to appeal this or complain about this because I want to get this over with and move on with my life. But just because I'm accepting this punishment does not mean this is an admission of guilt."
Which is weird because in the past he's apologized. He said, "But I apologize to the women that I've hurt or who may be offended." Not, I'm paraphrasing.
See, I think what I've been hearing with his wording, because I've been hearing he's been doing specific wording of it. Yes. Which shout out to PR, his PR team. They on fire right now, and his lawyers. That's kind of not shouting them out. Just saying that's what this is, PR coaching. They worded it as he's apologizing for he apologized if this situation has affected or hurt anyone, but not, you know what I'm saying? It's not him saying, "Yo, I'm sorry." I'm saying, "Yo, I'm sorry that this situation, if this has hurt or affected you in any sort of way," that's what he's apologizing for. But it's still in that he's never admitting a guilt, and he maintains his innocence through all that. So, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's interesting though, right? Because I think to your point, 11 games. I think 11 games is what the NFL. I think 11 games, to your point, is definitely a punishment that he definitely thought or he viewed as best case scenario, right? But I also think I was reading somewhere that this 11 games is actually better because had he been suspended for 12 games, it wouldn't have counted as like a full season. And so
I saw that
money that he would have made next year. So I think when he found out he would be eligible to play, what was it? 7 games, at least 7 games, 7 weeks.
No, 6.
6 games.
11 games.
6 games. 6 games. He was like, okay, it'd be considered a season enough for me to be able to get that money next year. So it definitely it was. I think it was more about money than it was money and time than it was about football, if that makes sense. And I think this goes back to what Sue L. Robinson was saying, how she's kind of like, "Yo, this whole situation is nasty." Like this whole situation is nasty because it is. Like this whole situation is nasty. It's interesting enough that he's coming back versus Houston Texans. So I want to ask you, where do you think they're going to be after 11 games?
It's funny you mention that because when we go into our records, I was going to preface by saying I did the Browns records with a Deshaun Watson suspension that was like 6 games. But now that it's 11, like that throws off my entire prediction for the AFC North. I will say you got to call San Francisco about Jimmy G. Like you got to. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett's, man, we've seen Jacoby play in long for a lot of games, and he's not good enough, man. Like if Deshaun comes back 1 or 2 games under 500, that's still too much ground to make up in the AFC that's loaded, right? Like if who you got in the AFC, right? You got the whole AFC West. You got the
maybe not whole.
Okay, 3 teams.
I'm not buying into the Denver hype until I see it.
Okay, so you got 3 teams at least, right, in the AFC West. And then we got, I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now. Let me pull up the AFC before I start talking.
You got the Bills.
Got the Bills.
Patriots.
We got, now you tripping. Ain't nobody.
Then you got the Steelers, you got the Ravens, you got the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's all in their division.
And then you got whoever wins the AFC South, that person's got to get in.
Yeah. And then 3 teams in the West, and then
Yeah, so
and then the Patriots too. And the Dolphins.
Stop throwing the Patriots in there. You can throw the Dolphins in there, but stop throwing Patriots.
Yo, I want you to know the Patriots are not going to be as bad as you think. Yo,
They're going to be worse.
no, they're not.
Dog, Matt Patricia's calling plays. Matt
Yo,
Patricia, you putting your faith, or Joe Judge, you putting your faith in those two guys?
let me tell you something. I have more faith in Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a good NFL
What
quarterback.
has Mac Jones shown you last year that makes you think when they were in the running for the playoffs last year, Mac Jones wet the bed and they missed the playoffs? Or they lost in the first round. They made the
Well,
playoffs.
yeah, they got stomped by the better team. Whatever. Mac Jones, he hasn't. Let me tell you something. Mac Jones has shown me that he can win you games and he won't necessarily lose you games.
Okay. That is what does Vegas have? Kyle, research. What's the over under for wins for New England this year? What's the line?
Bet you 8.
If
8-9.
the line is 8.5, bang that under. I don't care how that song sounds. Take the under. Like what is the win total for the Patriots? What's the line for Vegas this year? I need to know that. Kyle, if you would do me a favor, could you look up the line?
While Kyle excuse me. While Kyle looks up those ones.
That gas. AFC North.
The wins that will be coming to the AFC North. Pause.
Okay.
So in the AFC North, as mentioned, we have the Bengals, we have the Browns, we have the Steelers, and we have, as I told y'all before, the greatest preseason team ever, the Baltimore Ravens. I keep saying that because they did break the record for most consecutive preseason wins. And I like John Harbaugh. I love Action Jackson. Shout out to the Ravens. I like the Ravens. Like, I just, they're just like hearts. Like, I look at the Ravens, I'm like, I don't have no, like, if y'all not playing my team and I see y'all play, I'm gonna cheer y'all on because why not?
I love the Ravens, and we'll get into that in a second.
So let's start with each team's record. So you know how we're doing this. For the listeners, this is your first time. We start out with the team's record from worst in the division to best in the division. And we also talk about their divisional record and where they finish in the overall conference of the AFC. Danny, how about you start us off, brother?
So for me, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I will say this. Again, the Browns record was I had that Deshaun be suspended 5-6 games. And I would really like a redo because I'm doing the Steelers a disservice with this one. I just have no faith. I have faith in Tomlin. This is going to be really good. So this is going to be altered a little bit. So clown me for my Steelers pick. I deserve it. So I have them 4-13, 0-6 in the division, and the worst team in the AFC. In this, I don't know, man. I just don't have a good feeling about this Steelers team. I just don't. Like, you have a good defense that'll keep you in games, but I mean, you got Najee Harris, you got Pickens, you got you have weapons. I just don't believe in the Steelers. I'm sorry, I just don't. Like, I'm just not there.
I'm gonna let you finish. But what was the record you said again for them?
4-13, but I think they win more than 4 games.
Okay,
like, I'm wrong.
You're people. You are. I'm sorry. Oh, 8.5. Just for the record, just pausing this before I get my statement off. Kyle in the chat said that right now it looks like the New England over and under for wins is 8.5 on most sites, 7.5 on others.
Go to the 8.5 site, take the under, pay me my cut at the end of the season.
Lowe's D-Mix says take the over. But back to the AFC North, Danny is saying, people, that the Steelers are going to finish 4-13.
No, I said I'm wrong. I said that's what I thought originally, but I have rethought that, and I would like to change that, but I can't because I would throw off everything. So I'll stick to what I originally thought. But I'm saying right now I am wrong about the Steelers. They will win.
Well, I'm going to go off what you have, and that's 4-13.
Okay.
So people, I want you guys to realize that he is saying a head coach that has never had a losing record is going to go. What is that? 9 games under 500.
I think they went closer to 8 or 9 games. Okay. After second thought, but again, if I change that changes the whole.
Go ahead. So you have who in last place?
The Steelers. Steelers last place.
At 4-13. Okay.
All right. At 11-6, 2-4 in the division, 11th in the conference. I have the Browns. I would kind of tread that to 7-8 wins now that we know how long Deshaun is gone. Also at 11-6, 4-2 in the division, 10th in the AFC. I have the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to be really good, but a lot of close games they won last year. I think they lose this year. It's different from being the hunter to the hunted. And then at 14-2, 6-0 in the division, the 1 seed in the AFC. I am all in on the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens were the 1 seed in the AFC last year before all the injuries. And I need to note that before all those injuries, they had a first wave of injuries and they still found themselves in the 1 seed until they had another wave of injuries. And they still were competing for a playoff spot at the end of the year. No one has injury luck that bad 2 years in a row. I think the Ravens can be an absolute juggernaut. Pay Lamar Jackson his MFN money. That's it.
Okay. I like what you have at the top of your division. So for mine, and finishing 14th in the AFC, finishing 14th in the AFC with an overall record of 8-9,
Okay.
and a divisional record of 1-5. I have the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
I think their roster is good enough they're going to win some games they shouldn't, and they're going to lose some games that they should not, if that makes sense. So I think they're going to be lucky, but they're going to be unlucky. I think when Deshaun gets back, they're going to catch some steam, but I think ultimately it isn't going to be enough. I feel like 8-9 and missing out on the playoffs is right where they'll be, unfortunately. Finishing 7th in the AFC and getting the last playoff spot, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers with a divisional record of 2-4. Mike Tomlin's a good coach. It's a good defense. It's always a well-coached team. I think whether it's Mitch or Kenny Pickett, which has shown flashes in this preseason, I think they're going to be all right. 10-7 shouldn't be hard for them. I think Mike Tomlin gets his team back into the playoffs, and they're playing good football.
Okay.
Finishing 6th in the AFC, also with a record of 10-7 and a divisional record of 4-2. I have our previous AFC champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, this is a good team. I like Joey B. I think bringing in man, I forgot the guys. Hendon. They brought a new tight end who's really, really good. I'm forgetting Hayden Hurst. They brought in Hayden Hurst. I think they have one of the best 2 or 3 receiving cores in the league when you add in T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So this is a really good football team. I think 10-7 is likely going to be where they finish. I think, to your point, some of them games that they won last year that they shouldn't, I think they're going to lose this year. And then winning the division with a 5-1 record and a 11-6 overall record and the number 2 seed in the AFC, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Hey man, John Harbaugh keeps it's John, not Jim, right?
Yep, John is in Baltimore.
Yeah, John Harbaugh, keeps a really, really well coached team. Action Jackson, Lamar's one of my favorite players in the league. One of the top QBs this league has to offer, and one of the best talents this league has to offer. I think, hopefully, with getting J.K. Dobbins back, getting I believe Gus Edwards back too. Hopefully, some of these newer wide receivers begin to take that next step. They already have Mark Andrews. I think this is a team that can be, really, really good. And I like them at 11-6 to do some good things.
I need to make a correction. I said 14-2, 14-3 for the Ravens. My bad, because they're 17 games.
Yeah, and still, I like what Gator J said. 14 wins is hard.
I know. I think and I'm going to say this now, I think your predictions are probably going to be closer to what I predicted. The AFC North threw me for a loop. I'm not going to lie. Like that, I was really like that's the conference that kind of threw me for a loop when I was doing predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I think these divisional games, I think divisional records is what it's going to come down to. If you notice, like the Steelers at 2-4 in the division, but 10-7 overall. So you see they're a good team. They're just not, they're just losing some close games. I have Whereas, the Baltimore Ravens, I have them with a 5-1 divisional record, and they only won one more game overall than the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers. So, what do you think the biggest storylines are going to be for this AFC North?
So I had three: Watson suspension, which we've talked about, and how the Browns are going to look. The Bengals Super Bowl hangover. Only 8 teams have returned to the Super Bowl after losing the previous year. I don't have the number for the team that goes back to the playoffs after losing the Super Bowl, but I know that number is low too. And then Lamar Jackson's contract. It sounds like they have a number, but Lamar wants it fully guaranteed, and the Ravens do not want to do that. I do not know why. I do know why, but give Lamar his money.
Yeah, think I think my two biggest storylines are the Super Bowl hangover for the Bengals. I think to me, I don't. I shouldn't say it says Super Bowl hangover. I think teams are going to have them a little bit more figured out. I think they're going to use some of what the Rams did in the Super Bowl to really kind of find their own ways to maybe figure out how to defend this offense as best they can. I mean, you've seen what it is get to the quarterback, but I think that's going to kind of play a part in how teams start to guard Jamar Chase and T Higgins, and figure out ways to slow down Joe Mixon. So that I feel like that could be that's going to be one of the storylines. The other one's going to be between how long will the Ravens kind of be successful and let the headlines of Lamar's contract not being done kind of linger until they go ahead and give him the deal that he's looking for. I think you see I have them at what was it, 11-6. Yeah, 11-6. So they're going to be, the 2 seed. And I think at what point, maybe, at what point in the season when you're in the playoffs, do you have, at what point do you just give the man his contract? Because after so many headlines, it probably does get kind of worrisome. Who do you think is going to be the kind of the breakout player in this division? It seems like there's a lot of talent.
Yeah. For me, it's George Pickens. Pittsburgh knows a receiver. If Pittsburgh's picking a receiver, just assume they're going to be either a Pro Bowl or flirting with Pro Bowl. And so it's George Pickens.
Really? Okay. Man, yeah, I don't know. Pickens is a good one. I don't know. I had Kenny Pickett
Okay.
kind of written down as the breakout player, and I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, I think the evolution of George Pickens will come with the evolution of Kenny Pickett. So I definitely see that being a thing. But I also think of some of the other teams, in the AFC. So is this the year that T Higgins really takes the step? I think he
Okay.
could also be someone who could have a breakout year. For the Baltimore Ravens, they drafted, I believe his name was Rashad Bateman.
Yep.
Maybe we see him take that step this year. So really curious to see, with just there's a lot of talent in this division from top to bottom. There are, 4 really good coached and put together teams, and shout out to all 4 of these franchises. Well, all 4 of the franchises. I'll do that. Give me your division MVP because I think we might have the same guy.
We probably do. Everyone knows me, knows I love the trenches. Myles Garrett. It's time. Like it's time for you for his first defensive player of the year. We talk about him kind of in the same breath as Aaron Donald. We need to start putting up Aaron Donald stats. Well, he kind of is. And he needs to start winning awards like Aaron Donald. For me, it's Myles Garrett. And I don't think it's close. It's Myles Garrett. Maybe Lamar, but
I had
it's
Lamar as my division MVP. I'm not going to hold you. I think this is honestly, I think this is a year he comes back and maybe wins the MVP.
I'll take it. I'd love to see it.
But I think to your Myles Garrett point, I do think Aaron Donald. I mean, he at this point he's chasing just greatness. He's putting on just legacy acts. He's got his ring. He's obviously got the All Pros. He's got the accolades in terms of stats. So I think this would I'd be really happy to see Myles Garrett really take that, because really to beat Aaron Donald for the Defensive Player of the Year, you just got to take the leap.
Yeah.
And
we're talking like 15 sacks.
It'd be nice. Well, I mean, TJ Watt had what, 20 something last year. He won it.
Let me
didn't he?
see.
Yeah, I think TJ Watt was the Defensive Player of the Year.
I believe so too. Let me look up his stats from last year, because 15 sacks is low.
Like 20 something.
Yeah, he's going to need like 25, 30 maybe. Let me see. 2022. Wait, what? There's no way he had 0 sacks last year.
Who?
16. He had no. That was 2021. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong year because it is 2022. Yeah, so last year it looks like he had 16 sacks.
Who? TJ Watt?
Miles. No, Miles Garrett.
Okay. And that's still a lot. Still a lot for a guy who probably gets double and triple team calls. What else do you have on this division? I will say this. So Kyle also thinks that the Ravens will win the AFC North. As you saw in my predictions, I have the AFC North putting in 3 teams.
I saw
in the playoffs, which I think is kind of the inverse because I think you thought really highly of the AFC West, and I think my admiration for the AFC North is maybe your admiration for the AFC West because I don't see it in the AFC West like everyone else is. I see 3 really good three really good offenses and then one that's got to figure itself out. And I think it's going to be a team that it's going to be a division that kind of beats up on each other. Looks like Kyle said, and from the chat says, looks like 10 teams have lost the Super Bowl and missed the playoffs the next year.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle. And TJ Watt had 22 and a half sacks last year.
22 now. Man, Miles, yeah, you got to get there, Miles. I will say that the last time the Green Bay Packers made the Super Bowl, they did make the playoffs the next year. Looks like that happened. The last time that happened was the 07 Bears.
Ooh, Rex Grossman. Ooh, spooky times. Spooky times.
Nasty. All right. Let's get into some topics. I'm gonna throw something out there. Let's just run through. Let's get some thoughts. So I don't know if you saw in the UFC, Kamaru Usman lost the title. Crazy fight, historic win for Leon Edwards. What do you think? What do you think, man?
So this is going to be a confession. I do not watch UFC. It's just a little too barbaric for my taste. I'm not big. Watch the knockouts on Twitter, but to sit and watch 2 men like kick and punch each other for 3 minutes, it just doesn't do it for me. Like I used to watch Kimbo Slice fights. I used to watch Bone Jones, but since like those 2 are the only guys I would want to watch the UFC fight in a very, very long time. Same with boxing. Like I'm not a big boxing guy either.
Oh man, well, call me a sicko because I did watch this fight, and I will say that Kamaru Usman was winning. This happened in the 5th round. These are 5-minute rounds.
Okay.
So Kamaru Usman was kind of dominating this fight for 5 rounds, and he got to the last minute of the 5th round. He got knocked out. He had won like 14, 15, 16 fights in a row. Like last minute of the last round of a fight, he was clearly ahead. He got knocked out. And I say this to say, people, when you think that you are down and out, he gonna do it for you.
Oh my gosh.
He gonna do it for you.
Is this altar call?
Now I'm just saying.
Hey, pass the basket around.
I'm just saying, have faith and don't lose it, people. Also, this weekend, the same Saturday, some say the greatest player ever played basketball in Seattle, and the city of Seattle showed out. So I'm asking you, Seattle back in the NBA, yes or no?
Yes. But here's the thing. Here's the catch. If you take a team to Seattle, you either have to move a team to Seattle or you have to start a franchise in Seattle. And if you start a franchise in Seattle, you're going to have to start a franchise somewhere else so everything is still even. So if you start a franchise in Seattle, you probably don't have to start a franchise in Vegas because the NBA's been wanting to go to Vegas for a long time, which means you're going to have to move 2 teams out east, probably Memphis and New Orleans. And then you're going to have to redo the divisions, the Southwest, South. Yeah, that's the Mavericks division, the Southwest division, which I'm all for. Seattle is a basketball town, from the best.
What did you have to put in? You would have to add a few more teams because the divisions would be uneven, right? Or would you?
You would have to do a lot of realigning because right now the 30 teams. So if you add 2 teams, that's still even. It would just. You'd still have to, because how many divisions are there? There are 4 divisions in each conference, right?
Are you sure?
Let's look this up. Here we go. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 5 teams in each division because there are 3 divisions each. So yeah,
There's 3 divisions in each conference.
Yeah, there are 3 divisions: North, Central, Southeast, Atlantic, Central, Southeast in the East, and then the Northwest, Pacific, and Southwest in the Western Conference. So yeah, it's going to take some finagling, but
So
if you
I'm
want
saying
to do it,
if you had 2 more teams, that would bring it to 32.
yep.
30. How do you divide? Am I tripping?
No, you're not tripping. You'd have to make smaller divisions, and so instead of 3 big ones, probably 4 smaller ones, like the NFL. Like you have to go to like an NFL sort of breakdown to make it even.
Okay.
But it's worth it because Seattle is a basketball town. If anyone who watches WNBA, like you see how much Seattle packs out the arena for the Storm.
Yeah,
Like
that makes
Seattle's
sense.
a basketball town. Like I want.
So let me ask you then. Let's just say this happens. New team in Seattle, new team in Vegas.
Yep.
What division? Who would be your divisional opponents for the Mavericks?
The divisional. If we're going logistically,
Just
let me see.
realistically, it would.
Let me see.
I mean, I can tell you right now, you can put the Rockets and Spurs in there. So who would be the last?
The Rockets and Spurs are in there because they're in Texas. So if the Grizzlies and the Pelicans move out east, then the Oklahoma City will probably make sense because that's close by, and then maybe Minnesota.
Are you looking at a map?
No, I'm just looking at the team. I'm looking at the Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City makes sense. Oklahoma
Minnesota is like near Wisconsin.
North. Yeah, I know. I mean, unless you want to go out west.
How did Minnesota get said before Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix was my next one, so it was either going to be Phoenix. I mean, it could be Phoenix. Devin Booker can come get his ass kicked 2-3 times a year.
You're not. Texas is right here.
Yes.
Minnesota is like up here.
Yes.
All right. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. I'm crazy. I would take Phoenix, but it would definitely be Oklahoma City.
That's like the Colts being in the AFC South.
That's true.
I'd be like, yo, dog, that makes no sense.
That's true. Okay. Or the Giants being in the NFC East. No, never mind. Philadelphia and New York are really close to each other.
It's Dallas that don't make sense.
Yeah, it's Dallas that does not make sense.
Okay. We didn't talk about it last week, but LeBron James signed an extension with the Los Angeles Lakers for 2 more years. I mean, I just want to say, hey, Bron, I'm going to see you play before you hang it up. I promise you. I'm not wasting this opportunity. I promise you. It was also announced this morning that Kevin Durant is staying with the Nets after his business partner, Sean Marks, Josiah, Steve Nash, they were all able to kind of work things out. What do you think about that?
Kevin Durant tried to pull a power move and he got checked. That's all. That's all that was.
Oh, man. All right, let me put on my KD cape. Here we go. What if both sides put some pride to the side and came to the table and was like, hey, yo, dog, maybe this shit ain't too bad, dog.
Completely possible.
Because, like, something tells me that the Nets really tried to shop Kevin Durant. And when I believe the offer they probably had out there for Kevin Durant was based off of the Rudy Gobert offer. And there's no value you can put on that, right? So I think they were getting a whole lot of calls and a whole lot of offers that probably didn't make any sense. And I feel like they probably weren't a fan. I feel like, Kevin Durant's in, I feel like as a player, he probably was maybe getting a little bit annoyed of all the headlines. Maybe, he just, maybe at the core, some of his issues were just really hoop related. And so he just wanted to just ensure that, that the team is really focusing on winning and, putting the best team together. Maybe they just all came together and they spoke some grievances on their end. He spoke some grievances on his end. And we said, hey, we think we can make this work instead of maybe having to break all this up when we have a pretty good team here. And I think everyone was like, all right.
I would believe
that. Is that really a power move? Or is that, yo, we was beefing? Let's figure this out a little bit. Because if you
You
even see the stuff he was saying, he said back to Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly was like, "Oh, there's a young man who not eating because of this KD stuff," and he just quoted and hashtagged it. Yeah, blame KD.
I would believe that, but his camp leaked that he went to Joe Tsai. I mean, he went to ownership and Tsai and said, "I want you to fire Sean Marks and Steve Nash. You do not come back from that. Like you can't go to your boss's boss tomorrow and say, I want my boss fired, and then come back to your boss and be like, okay, we cool now. Like it doesn't work like that.
Well,
That
who
does
said he
it.
said that?
His camp leaked that. Shams and Woj reported that he had a meeting with Joe Tsai because Joe Tsai tweeted, "I support the front office."
Oh yeah, I
That was
remember.
in response to
You're
the
right. Yeah,
report.
you're right.
Yeah, like you do. I can't go to work tomorrow. Go to the director of my department and say I want my boss fired. My boss hears that, and then we gonna be cool afterwards. Like, nah, there's no like that's a line that you can't uncross.
Well, then how do you think they're gonna figure this out to navigate this during the season?
They might talk about it behind the scenes and try to do something at the trade deadline, but you can't sit here and say I want the coach and the GM fired and then have dinner with them and be like, "Oh no, I was tripping." Nah, man, ain't no coming back from that. This was a power move. KD lost.
We gonna see. We gonna see. Baker Mayfield was named the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Are you surprised at all by this move?
This is one of the rare times where we talk about Carolina Panther football for this year. I don't care. Like I'll say this: Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback DJ Moore has ever had. So if DJ Moore slides in fantasy, like draft him because he put up numbers last year with Sam Darnold and who was their backup last year?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even
Exactly.
remember.
We don't care. And Cam came back. Like we don't care about Carolina Panther football anymore. But Baker is the best quarterback DJ Moore has ever had, which is really sad for DJ Moore. So yeah, get all the DJ
Really
Moore you
sad.
can.
DJ Moore, yo, relax. Yo, do you want to talk about the WNBA playoffs? Give the people. I know you've been into the the WNBA, heavy this year. So I'm gonna give you the floor. Let us know what's the latest on WNBA and where we sitting now. I think did I see? I think I saw the Seattle. Did they win their series not too long ago?
Yeah, so starting this weekend, Vegas and Seattle will play in the second round. I think that's going to be the best series out of the entire WNBA playoffs. I'm really excited. They've played the past 2 or 3 Sundays on ABC, and both games have been thrillers. Aja and Brianna are in the running for MVP. It should be Aja. Aja beat Brianna twice, and she's scoring buckets. I will say this because I've had this conversation with a few of my friends on text. The fact that we have WNBA players dropping 25 and 30 points is absolutely fascinating because they play 10-minute quarters, and the average WNBA player is like resting 2 or 3 minutes per quarter. So when we talk about efficiency, like Asia's dropping 30 on like 12 shots. Like it is like when we talk, I know people talk about the WNBA is not entertaining. Like, dog, do you know how hard it is to score that many points in that little amount of time?
Maybe
And then
hooping. Those are efficient, great.
hooping. Better shooters too. Tonight we have New York and Chicago. It is game 3. The first round's the best out of 3. New York won game 1. Chicago beat the brakes off from game 2. Chicago is the 2 seed. New York is the 7th seed. I really would love. I know Chicago is the defending champions. Candace Parker. That's a great story. I'd love to see Sabrina Ionescu send them home. That would be a great
And
story
what time
too.
did this game start?
That starts at 9 o'clock on ESPN, I believe. So as soon as we log off, I'm gonna go watch that game because I'm really excited to see. Sabrina is another one. If the New York Liberty were better, she'd be in the MVP conversation. Same with Skylar Diggins Smith. Brittany Griner's not there. Diana Taurasi was hurt. Skylar Diggins had averaged the most minutes, and she was like 3rd in scoring this year. So if the Phoenix was better, Skylar would be in the MVP conversation too. And then tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Connecticut, Dallas, game 3. Dallas won game 2 in Connecticut in convincing fashion. Wnba, she is a monster. She plays for Dallas. Monster. She's a beast. I hope she plays tomorrow. And then for Connecticut, Jacqueline Jones, 35. She wears 35 because of Kevin Durant. She plays like Kevin Durant. Sis can hoop. Watch tonight and tomorrow. And then this weekend, Vegas, Seattle, I believe Sunday at 2.
Wars.
It's going to be fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm gonna be locked. I'm gonna be locked in for the playoffs. I'm gonna be locked in.
Tonight, like I had like Sabrina, like if Sabrina sends Candace Parker
And
home
these
tonight.
are 3-game series, right?
So the first round is 3 games, second round is 5, and then the finals are 5. Like if Sabrina sends Candace home tonight, like that is her it's not I'm him, I'm her moment. Like if she sends the defending champs home as the 7 seed, some might call it racism.
Well, we gonna see. I'm excited. That's tonight.
That's tonight at 9. And Sabrina is like Kobe's protege. So Sabrina Ionescu went to Oregon. She was really close to Kobe. Yeah, nice. Kobe's birthday was yesterday. Dog, like she might F around and drop 35 tonight.
What if she go for 50?
Dog, if she go for 50, that's rap. Give her the ring. Give her MVP today.
All right. So did you hear Dana White say that Brady and Gronk were once supposed to go to the Las Vegas Raiders?
Just tell me that's not the John Gruden special. Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, and Gronk. Tell me John Gruden went in his office laughing his ass off like some kind of weird scientist. That is his Frankenstein. Like that is a John Gruden Frankenstein. Like I got Antonio Brown, Gronk, and Tom Brady. What the hell could go wrong?
Man, John Gruden was about to be like, yo, we're about to put some heat on some players. We gonna put some heat on some players. Yeah, that's funny.
Speaking of Gronk, Gator J made the comment about Gronk playing in Ice Cube's Big 3 league.
Yeah, he had some footwork. He looked like he can get shifty with it.
We don't need to see that.
Oh man,
we don't need to see that.
All right, so talk to me. I know you're saying you're preparing for the our fantasy football league. So I think earlier we were chatting about the dynasty league.
Yep.
Let's shift over to our redraft league. I know in that league, what pick do you have?
9th out of 10th.
Ninth in a snake draft though.
Yep.
How are you feeling in terms of who you like? What do you think your draft board is going to be looking like when you have that 9th board?
So I feel like I'm going to have the opportunity to draft an elite pass catcher, whether that's Justin Jefferson, maybe Jamar Chase falls to me, or Kyle Pitts, and then not an elite running back, but a running back that is borderline elite or that has been productive their entire career, maybe towards the end of the career, a Joe Mixon, a Nick Chubb, a Dalvin Cook, maybe a Kamara, depending. I don't think he's going to be suspended. So I feel really good. I've been doing a lot of dynasty mocks. I need to start doing my redraft mocks. But yeah, like I have a feeling I'm going to have to get my hands on like a Justin Jefferson, Nick Chubb, or Jamar Chase, a Kyle Pitts combination. My biggest conundrum is, do I take 2 elite pass catchers? Like if I can get Jefferson and then turn around and get Kyle Pitts, do I do that? Or do I take like a Justin Jefferson and then like a Joe Mixon in the second round and kind of start building my more balanced roster instead of just having a bunch of elite pass catchers? Because you have pick 3, right?
I do have pick 3. And similarly to you, well, maybe a little differently from you, I guess I should say. My strategy, as I've been looking at it, at 3, it's like, okay, the 2 dogs is going to be out.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, they're going to be gone. So when I pick, the world is my oyster. The world is my oyster, and I have to think. Okay, do you go best available player overall, or do you go next best available running back, because people say that running backs score the most points in fantasy? I'm gonna be honest with you. I debate back and forth, but I think I know where I'm gonna go.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go the way I'm gonna go because the pick I'm gonna make, I think he gonna have one of them years.
So what if Christian McCaffrey falls to you? Are you gonna take him?
He won't.
You don't think so?
He won't. Let me tell you something. If someone takes, it's the consensus is we know who the first 5 picks are, right? First 4 picks, I should say. Who's the unanimous 4?
So Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey,
in redraft leagues.
Yeah.
And then Cooper Kupp, I've been seeing going 3.
Okay.
And Austin Eckler at 4. And
I mean, you set the tone for the draft, right? Because the top two were definitely McCaffrey, Taylor. So you set the tone for the draft.
Exactly.
So you set
There's
my strategy. You set my strategy because again, that my conundrum is 2 elite pass catchers or an elite pass catcher and a semi-elite running back. But I feel like I'm intrigued to you. I mean, are you going to take Jamar Chase? Like, are you going to just throw?
That's what I'm thinking of. No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't Eckler. It was Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase,
Taylor,
Christian McCaffrey.
Are you going to take Chase?
Hey man, I'm gonna play the board.
You gonna play the board?
I know exactly who I'm going to take.
Okay. I'm not going to try to guess. For me, it's I got to get 2 elite players, in those 2 picks, and whoever they are, that's what it's going to be. But I will
say this though. The guy that I'm also considering at 3, I haven't. The last time I had him, he had a really good season. Last season, he had a really good season. Okay. No, the last time I had him, he was injured, and then last year he had a really good season.
Okay, I was about to say it's Saquon, but it's not Saquon because he did not have a good season last year.
Yeah, no, the last time I had him, he was injured, and then last year he had a really good season, but I didn't have him in any league.
Okay, because last year you had Saquon and he was hurt, so it's not Saquon. Who could it be? That's what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm not gonna edit the audio. I'm not gonna upload anything. I'm gonna be trying to figure out who you're gonna draft. But it doesn't matter because I'm at 9. You're just gonna have to shift the board. Like you're gonna wreck the board. You're gonna wreck.
I think whoever picks. I'm curious. Whoever picks after me, what they're gonna do when I make my pick because they're gonna have a really good player at 4 available who I don't think maybe they thought was gonna be there.
Hey, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it though. That's in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, that's in 2 weeks. So maybe what we should do is, well, maybe next week we'll have one final chat about our draft strategies for both redraft.
Well, you're not giving me any strategy. You're just saying I know a guy, and then I'm
okay.
Not...
I will say this. I'll give you maybe a little more detail into my strategy, but won't without speaking to the player. This year, in previous fantasy years, I've really tried to play it by position. I've been drafting by position. Hey, I know running backs are they score a good amount of points. If I get in the range of the top 4 or the top 3, like I've normally just went with the best available. I normally go with the best available running back if I'm in that top 4, and then if I'm in like 6 to 8. I maybe take the best receiver and then 8 to 10 best player. 9 to 10 best player. I've been thinking about my strategy this year for this particular league, and I'm like, this year I should start taking playing the board more and playing more into a player situation, their volume, thinking about like maybe their competition at targets. So the guy I'm going to take at 3, I just think he's going to get a fair amount of volume in their offense, in his offense, that I have to take him at just 3 because I think
that makes more sense.
Clear the number 1 offensive option on the team, even So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, I respect that.
We gonna speak on it offline, so you can probably put it together. Last thing I'm gonna say, because I don't know, I've never asked you, were you ever into Game of Thrones?
So I watched the first season of Game of Thrones. I'm gonna be honest, it was a whole lot of nudity and it was a whole lot of incest for my liking. So I was like, ooh, like we start twins. I know it's fiction and they're not related in real life, but we seeing scenes of twins and brothers and sisters having sex with each other. You know what? That's just not for me. No offense. I did read the spoilers though.
Because I will say this: you have to. Yes and no, because you kind of have to get to that first season because it has to build. You have to lay the foundation of what this series is about. Because I've been rewatching because I've been on like a 3-year hiatus from this show since the finale. I've been rewatching episodes and it all came back to me. That first season was so pivotal because it had to lay like the true foundation for what the fuck you were about to see. Because it's a lot of like storytelling and like. There's like a lot of you have to understand that in this world there's like a lot of already untold history that all these people know that we don't, and so you have to like kind of built through that while following the current plot line. And they did a lot of that in season 1. And in season 2, it takes off. Like
Okay.
it starts taking off in season 1, but season 2, it starts taking off. And that season 2 to about season 7, I mean, we're talking prime time television. There is a lot of nudity and sex, but yo, what do you? I always go back to this. What do you think they was doing back in the days? Though?
I know. Like, I'm sure it's completely accurate, right?
And
Like,
even when it comes down to like some of the twin stuff, like it was like bloodline. They were really like during that time. They were really big on bloodline and heritage and family.
mhm.
I mean, I'm not. Listen, I'm not just about. I don't believe in that, but I'm just saying, like it.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, like,
With that being said, I'm gonna say this. This is all I'm saying. If you can make it through season 1 and you can get into season 2, it really take off because it's like we're talking like character development, character plot, overall plot. I mean, the last season just gets tops because a lot of people don't think they maybe put the story together. They culminated the best way, but it doesn't take away that a lot of that show was really, really good. So I'm just saying that, say, if you and your lady ever get interested in a new show, definitely reconsider that one. But they came out with a new show, House of Dragons, which is essentially the prequel to the Game of Thrones series. I told myself after the way Game of Thrones ended, I don't know if I can deal with heartbreak and disappointment like this again. But I was like, you know what? It's just television. And then when I started rewatching episodes, I was like, yo, dog, like, yeah, the last season was maybe a little questionable, but this show was really, really good. And so when I watched the first episode of this new prequel that came out, man, they got me again.
I heard about the scene with
Oh my
with the
God, don't talk about
birth.
it.
Nope.
No, that wasn't a birth. That was
I know. I don't want to hear it. I'm good.
man, yo.
I am GOO.
Look, I ain't even gonna hold you. It's been a while since I've been watching TV or a movie, and there was a scene that I had to literally just go like, "Hey, yo, dog!" Like literally, I had to just cover my eyes.
Nope. Nope.
And that was one of them. But I also watched like the behind the episode, and they at the end of the episode they were talking about that scene specifically. And of course, they acknowledge like this is like the way they framed it, like the way they shot it cinematically with the other scene that was happening. They did it in a certain way because it's like it's a battle in its own way. And then they were like, if you think about the times, like the man was presented with two options. It was try to save the baby, but the mother will die, or the mother and the baby will die.
And he said, "Save the baby."
And he said, "Save the baby."
Was it a son?
Because he wanted a son, because he was trying to continue his
Yeah.
lineage and heritage, because he hadn't had a son yet. And he had has a 12-year-old daughter who's the main character in the show. So to give some context into why this seemed what it was, so that's why they had to shoot it, because like when you think about during this time in history, this was mad common. Like this was, if you think about it, because they didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like we're thinking from the modern science way because we're used to Western modern science and medicine, but it wasn't always that way, my brother. With that being said, hey yo, HBO, dog, I'm good on that. Never again. Never again.
Never again.
Like that type of thing, never again. Please. All right, man. I mean, shit. Woo. All right. The people are really trying to figure out this third overall. I will say this, Gator J, it is not Alvin Kamara and it is not Dalvin Cook. While it's been a while since I've had Kamara, I've never had Dalvin Cook, believe it or not. I've never had Dalvin Cook.
I am a Dalvin Cook believer. Dalvin Cook has been on my team for like the past 3 years.
I want to see if I can try to get Dalvin Cook in the league, but I want to be honest with you. And let me look. So in my leagues, let me tell you about some of the draft picks I have. So as of right now, in one redraft league, I have pick 8. I've been doing a lot of mock drafts on that league specifically because I really want to. I really want to win this league. I have pick 8. I've been doing some mock drafts. I think I'm gonna get it.
Okay. At how many? 10?
Yes, 10.
Okay.
In our redraft, I got 3. In our dynasty,
Okay.
I have pick 4. In a keeper league, I have pick 8. And then whatever I end up in this work league, I'm very curious.
Are you gonna host a Zoom meeting and randomize again? Because that is fun. Like the one I intended was hilarious.
Well, it's gonna be with coworkers, so I asked them, "Do we want to just set up some time?"
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, like let's go get a beer or something, and the old-fashioned way. All right, people. Well, Danny, let the people know where they can find you, man.
I changed my Twitter handle to something that made more sense. It is Danny Ocean 41. Very easy to remember.
Let's go. Make sure you guys also not only follow Danny Ocean at Danny Ocean 41, but you also follow myself at Los D-Makes on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you also follow the pod on both Instagram and Twitter. That's Speak On It _pod. Shout out to the Going for Two Network as always. Danny, any other last words, my brother, before we get out of here?
No, this was fun. I really enjoyed the show. I'm glad I got ahead of my Pittsburgh Steeler takes, so no one can hold them against me when they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
well, if you listen to the audio, this is about we gave the people about an hour and 20, so they got plenty of. If you listen to the audio, hope you getting some enjoyment out of it.
Absolutely.
And if anyone is able to guess who I'm going to take at number 3 in this redraft league, I'll wink at you. Pause. All right, people. That's all I got. Shout out to the late, great Kobe Bryant as well. Tomorrow is Wnba Day, and yesterday was his birthday. Or today's his birthday, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah. I think yesterday or today. Either way. Happy birthday. Happy Wnba Day. You guys have a great week. Danny, much love. People, much love. Peace.